Hello, everyone. Welcome to Restorative Practice. We'll start out seated today, and I want you to sit however it's comfortable to you. You can sit on a chair. In fact, a chair might be a really good thing to have for this practice. Other props, as usual, for restorative practice include multiple blankets, multiple pillows, wall space, and let's go ahead and actually have that chair. So you can grab your kitchen chair. You can grab your office chair as long as it doesn't have wheels on it, because I don't want it to roll away from you. I'm just going to pull my chair a little bit closer. And so yeah, let's come to that upright seat, chair, floor, whatever. Make sure there's something supporting the sits bones in that way that you can roll forward with that pelvis. Like there's a little bit, imagine that your pelvis is this bowl that holds water, and you want to tilt the bowl forward so the water is spilling forward out of the bowl, if that makes sense. And then once you've got that kind of forward pelvic tilt, shift the shoulders back. So what this does is creates that natural S curve in the spine. And then once the shoulders are over the hips, relax your ears over your shoulders. Maybe close the eyes if you find that soothing. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, maybe you lower your gaze. You can focus on something that's on the floor in front of you, or just the tip of the nose. So soften the gaze or close the eyes. We'll start with a brief body scan to just begin to acknowledge how we feel. How are we doing today? Check in. And start by noticing the head, any sensation there, top of the head, the ears, the forehead, the cheekbones, the mouth, the jaw. Just do your best to soften in and relax. The back of the head, back of the neck, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, and the hands. And so it's a simple acknowledgement. How does it feel? And an intention to relax. Without any judgment, you're just noticing things. There's no good or bad here. There's just noticing. Now draw your awareness down the spine, through the chest, the rib cage, the belly, and resting in the pelvic area, the sits bones, base of the spine. Now bring your awareness back up to the breath, inhaling through the nose. And maybe exhale through the mouth. Try that twice more. Inhale through the nose. And exhaling through the mouth. One more time. Good. Start to allow your chin to draw in towards your chest. And we'll start with a little semicircle for the head, so pulling the left ear to left shoulder. Kind of pausing there. And rolling the chin back to the chest. And then right ear to right shoulder. Pausing there. Back through center, chin to chest. Back to the left side. And continue with your semicircles on your own. And feel free to pause anywhere along the way that feels particularly tender or tight, that needs a little extra time and breath. And noticing differences between right and left side also. And then we'll come back through center. So lift the chin until it's about parallel with the ground. Breathe in here. Breathe out here. And we'll inhale, we'll lift the chin, open the throat. And then exhale, chin into the chest. Feel the shoulders draw down the back. Breathe into the back of the neck. And continue that. Just up and down with the chin. Notice how that feels. And there's no goal here to get to a certain openness with the chin or drawing the head back to a particular range of motion. Just let your body do what it's going to do. Let it stop where it wants to stop. Just one more time through that range of motion. Okay, good. So now if you're up on a chair, it'd be easier to come down to the ground for this next little movement. We're going to work with the hands, with the wrist. So we'll take the hands down to the mat, turn the wrist and the palms forward, fingertips towards the shin bones or the knees, and then see if you can get a little bit more of the hand, the palm of the hand on the mat. You don't have to get the palm all the way flat. Again, this is this is a practice in honoring your range of motion. Notice how that feels, that sensation across the forearm, the wrist, the palm of the hand, the knuckles, and the fingers. Let's take about 3 deep breaths here. Well, nice and slow back off of that, release, lift up your hands, and just circle the wrists out. And change directions with your circle. And now we'll take fingertips to point towards the knees, but the back of the hand, back of the knuckles will come to the mat this time. So the palms, it's like the palms are facing the armpits. So now you're stretching, in essence, the front of the forearm, and you're just noticing your range of motion with your wrist. I like to add on a little bit here by curling the fingers. See if I can curl the fingers in towards the palm. The fingers definitely don't get all the way into the palm, but it's just a nice little exercise and seeing what happens. And it's such a difference for me in particular between my ability to curl my fingers in with my right hand in comparison to my left hand. Let's take about 3 breaths here. Good, and then we'll release out of that. And then one more time, just roll out through the wrist. One last little bit of prep work, and then we'll move into our longer holds and stillness. And if you're seated on the floor cross-legged and you need to change that seat out in any way, like cross-legged, I like to switch out the opposite shin is now in front. We're going to just take a little bit of a twist. We'll find rotation first off to our right. Fingertips behind you, right fingertips behind you like a little kickstand. So relax that front shoulder, soften the elbow, and just gently use your left hand to rotate over towards your right. Breathe into the rib cage, breathe into the back body. Not looking for a huge twist here, just looking for a nice tall spine. Let's take 2 more breaths. Start to unwind. Come back through center, 1 full breath cycle in center. Even though you know you're going to do that second side, just pause here with me for a moment. Good. Okay, so now I'll rotate off to the left fingertips behind you like that little kickstand. Right hand to the outer thigh. Just be gentle with that pressure. Relax both of your shoulders. Find that big breath. Feel the expansiveness across the rib cage, the back body, and the belly. Two more breaths here. All right, let's unwind. Good. We're going to start to work with the hips, hip flexors in particular. We'll come to the hands and the knees first. If you have that chair, I want you to slide it right in front of you on your mat. So it's not going to slide around. It's pretty sturdy. And then I'd like you to pad the knees. So maybe you take one of those blankets, unfold it, and place your knees on the blanket. We'll choose one leg to step forward. We'll come into this lunge position. I'm stepping my left foot forward first, but you choose. And then, so this is why the chair is so helpful, because I can kind of lean forward with my forearms. I don't have to come too deep to the point of it being detrimental to the joint itself, the tendons and the ligaments. I can allow my body to soften in gently. Just for a moment, take a look at the alignment of the toes and the knee. So if the knee's kind of out to the side, turn the toes out to the side so they're tracking in the same line. If the toes are turning forward, turn the knee forward. You can play with both. It might feel different. And then just for a moment, curl the back toes under, lift the back knee. You might wiggle that foot back in space a little bit and then set the knee back down. So that little exercise right there should really find some frontal hip flexor sensation. I'm going to be here for about 3 minutes. So this is our first long hold. I'd like you to really tap into the breath. Keep relaxing your shoulders. Keep relaxing the jaw, the teeth. And if you start to feel yourself kind of melting into this a little bit more, you can come a little bit deeper. You could fold your hands underneath your face. You can relax your forehead into the chair or the hands or whatever prop you're using. So the work here is to keep coming back to your breath. Keep softening any places where you're really gripping. And sometimes that means you need to back out of the shape to be able to do that, because the body's telling you, warning, you've gone too far, right? So listening to the body, its cues, and utilizing the breath to stay in the present moment. You're well over halfway. We have about 4 really slow breaths here. Deep, slow belly breaths. And so if you're pretty deep into this lunge, really take your time, be gentle as you back out, kind of step by step, just reversing that process. I'm going to move back over that back knee and just for a moment, lengthen out your front leg. And then front leg moves back, knee plants. If you need to adjust your props at all, go ahead. We'll take the opposite foot forward. So one thing to note is I'm taking my front foot pretty wide so that my hips are like inside of the front inner thigh. And same thing with my arms if my hands were down on the floor, if I wasn't using a chair, which if you have that range of motion, you're welcome to not use the chair. But I do recommend, especially in a practice like this where we have long holds, that even if you have this really big expansive range of motion, you only go about 40% of your maximum stretch. That's not a lot. Okay, so less than half of your maximum stretch. You're not looking for this big, huge opening. Okay, so first things first, we'll see which direction the toes are pointing and the knee, and see if you can get those tracking in that same direction. So maybe it's off to the side or maybe it's forward, but knees and toes, same direction. Back toes, curl them under, lift the back knee, wiggle the foot back in space a little, and then set the knee back down. You're more than welcome to stay upright on your forearms, lifting the chest and just hanging out here. Sometimes what happens is maybe halfway through the shape or the hold, the body calls you to melt a little bit deeper. Not always, just sometimes. Listening to the body, remember is that's your work, and using the breath to stay in the present moment. Keep softening your throat, your jaw, your neck, and your shoulders. About 4 really deep, slow breath cycles here. All right, so we'll back out. Take your time with that. And just take a moment to move the hips back over the back knee, lengthen out through the front leg. Good. All right, so pulling that knee back into its place, we'll set up our next shape, which will be Supta Baddha Konasana, which I like to call the reclining, the yogi recliner. I'm going to move my chair out of the way. I'm going to take my pillows or pillow, depending on what you have at home. So this is a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you could use a couch cushion. You can stack pillows together on top of each other. There's a lot of different ways to set up this recliner, but today I want to give you this option. See how my pillow's flat? It's parallel with the ground. I'm going to place a blanket just folded at the top of that. That's going to support my cervical spine and the back of my head. So this version of the yogi recliner, our chest is going to become a little bit more open. You're going to put yourself into a little bit more of a back bend. Back bending is helpful midday when you feel that afternoon slump to get a little bit of a nice cleansing burst of energy without like the jittery sense that comes with coffee. So you're going to sit right in front of your pillows, sits bones on the mat. Soles of the feet will come together. You can take extra pillows, folded blankets, or blocks if you have them underneath the outer edges of the knees. And then I like to take another blanket over the tops of my feet and even the belly to add a little extra weight, because that's really helpful for tapping the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And then when you come back, just kind of fidget around for a few moments, kind of tilt the chin in towards the chest, a little tuck and roll of the edge of the blanket underneath the back of the neck. And move the arms around like you were making a snow angel. Right, so you can sweep the arms overhead. You pull the elbows wide and bring the hands back down towards the thighs or the belly. You're just kind of moving the arms around in space to figure out what's going to be most helpful with the hold. So eventually you'll find stillness. It's the same work here for you of relaxing the body. At first acknowledging where you feel tension, where you're gripping. And then the practice is to bring the breath there to help soften, soothe, and release. We'll now start to transition into our Shavasana, and this might be just a mental transition. So there's no need to move the body in any way if you're really comfortable where you're at. If you do want to extend out the legs, instead of being in that bent knee position, you could just stretch the legs out. You can come off of the bolster, of course, the cushions, and take any sort of Shavasana that you would prefer. So whether your transition is physical, mental, or emotional, feel the weight of the back body resting on your props. Feel the open, spacious awareness of the front body. Feel the texture of clothing against your skin. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Feel your jaw soften, your tongue widen, and your teeth, your lips, your gums relax. Shavasana. Please feel free to stay in Shavasana for as long as you can. If you need to move on with your day, slowly start to awaken fingertips and toes. And circle out the ankles and the wrists. In your own time, rolling off to a side. And pressing into the hands. And coming briefly to an upright seat to close out our practice. The same way we began, a comfortable upright seat. Let the spine feel like it's growing tall. And fold your hands flat against your heart. Just breathing into the hands for a breath cycle or two. Feeling your heartbeat. A simple acknowledgement that you are alive. You are here right now. You are trying your best. And that is always enough. With reverence and gratitude, we bow our chin to our chest, honoring your effort, your practice. And to all of our teachers, past, present, future, and to the teacher within your own heart, namaste, yogis. I hope you all enjoyed that practice. Hope you're feeling good in your bodies. Don't forget to eat really good, healthy foods, whole foods. Get your fruits and veggies. Drink lots of water. Take care of yourselves until next time.